Hi, my name is Nora Sanders, and I am a target teacher in Cobb County, Georgia. For my professional development goal this year, I've decided to read some professional books and then tell all of you, all three of you, there's nobody watching these, all three of you, about what I've learned from these books. So today I'm going to be talking about Explore Like a Pirate by Michael Matera. I was super excited to find this book and excited to start reading it because I've been really interested in gamification and how I can apply that to my classroom. One of the things that I love about this book is that it doesn't matter where you are with gamification. I am just starting to dip my toe in, and there was a lot for me that I could use tomorrow. Even if you were a more experienced gamifier in your classroom, you could absolutely use this to kind of go deeper, or if you're not sure that you're doing it right, there are ideas for you too. The other thing that I loved about it is that it doesn't matter what subject you teach, what your content area is, or even what grade level you are, you can use this in your classroom. I probably wouldn't use it for very young students. I would say though, like 3rd through 12th, you could absolutely use this no matter what subject that you teach. So when I first got the book, I was a little bit confused because I recognized the pirate branding, but it wasn't written by Dave Burgess, who I absolutely love. But I thought maybe it was written by him at first when I saw it. But it's actually written by, or it's published by Dave Burgess Consulting, which I didn't realize that he was doing, but he's started promoting a lot of other teachers who also have some really great ideas, and there are some other books in the back that are published by Dave Burgess Publishing that I'm also really interested in. So definitely something to check out as his publishing company and some of their ideas. But it's similar to his book, I would say, in that it really promotes kind of student engagement as being the backbone of your teaching. So let's dive in. The first chapter is kind of the Call of the Explorer, has sort of an intro to gamification and what it can do for you as a teacher. In the second chapter, he talks about dispelling the myths of gamification. And actually, I was talking to one of my teacher friends. We're at the playground, and I told her that I was kind of getting into gamification and sort of doing some research on that. And so she said, "What is that?" And I told her, and it was funny. She said, "I kind of have a problem with that." And that's sort of the reaction that I've been getting from a lot of people when I've been talking about it. They say, "Well, is that promoting video games?" Or "I'm not a gamer," or "I don't agree with kids playing all these video games. I think it's actually doing a lot of damage. If I add this into my classroom, am I kind of condoning that?" So I really like this section about myths kind of being at the very front. So he talks about if games are just for play and sort of dispels that one. Myth number 2 I really liked because this was one that I kind of had in my head. If I give them a badge or points, my class will be gamified. And that was kind of what I initially thought of gamification as being, or I think I thought that there's a difference between game-based learning and gamification. And so I sort of thought that game-based learning, which I'm already doing, was gamification. But then I realized as I got a little bit deeper through this book that gamification combines many elements of game mechanics into your classroom, and it really goes beyond the bounds of the traditional classroom. It kind of turns everything around. So that was interesting. And then it talks about you need to be a gamer to gamify your class. Now let me tell you, after finishing this book, it would help. If you are a gamer, it would absolutely help you gamify your class. I'm not a gamer. I still think I can do it, but it's going to take a lot of work for me to research, and maybe even, like, I think it honestly would even help just to get online and see some of these games and how they're played, because I have no clue. I have never gamed. Mario Brothers, but beyond that, I have not played any, like, World of Warcraft or anything deeper than that. So it was a little bit confusing and overwhelming in parts, and I'm going to talk about that as we get a little bit deeper into it. I love chapter 4 too. It talks about a language of learning and this idea of purpose-driven learning, which is from a teacher called Adam Moreno. I did not know, I had never heard about him before, but I am definitely going to look him up on Twitter and try to find his website because I love this. He talks about 10 qualities that highly successful people have in common, and their confidence, creativity, enthusiasm, effort, focus, resilience, initiative, curiosity, dependability, and empathy. And so those 10 qualities become, I want to say it exactly the way he says it. It becomes the language of your classroom to kind of constantly be pointing back to those words and pointing back at those character qualities. He uses them in his report card comments, in all of his feedback to his students, and I love that. So I think I definitely want to incorporate that as well. I love that he included that in this gamification book. And I also love, another thing, this is kind of an aside, but another thing I love about Dave Burgess, and then I think when other teachers do this, when you point to another teacher, when it's not just about you and you say, hey, look, this other teacher had a great idea and I borrowed their idea. So I love that, just pointing out other people's ideas and pointing to other people that you can learn from. So I'm going to check him out for sure. And then hopefully he has a book. Maybe he has a book. Chapter 5 was cool. It talks about getting to know your crew before you start gamifying your room, getting to know the types of players that you have in your class. So he talks about gamer personalities, and there's even a little grid right here where he talks about there's achievers, socializers, explorers, and killers. And he even had a battle test that he would give his students at the beginning before they started the game to figure out their gamer personality. And he talks about how that kind of plays into the classroom and how that's your classroom personality also. As I was reading this, I like to pretend or think that I would be like the achiever, the explorer, but I'm pretty sure I'm the killer. Which doesn't mean you like to hurt people. It's just you like to kind of mess with things and take shortcuts. So you have to read it to find out. So then as he gets a little bit further into it, he talks about the elements of game-inspired course design and really gets kind of deep into the elements of gamification. This is when I started to feel really overwhelmed, is when he started talking about, having a story behind it and picking your theme, and then like the rewards that you have, and then like little mini rewards on the way that he called like Easter eggs, and the experience points. So at this point, I was like, I can't do this. I'm not a gamer. I don't understand this. But then there's this little disclaimer in here, and he said, don't jump ship. It's like he read my mind. Don't jump ship out of fear. It's extensive with the purpose of giving you a full breadth of options and to start thinking about this. And then, I kind of had to, I think a lot of teachers probably feel this way, calm myself down, because I think I had it in my head, like, I'm going to do this next week. I'm not going to do this next week. If you don't have experience with this, you are not going to have a gamified classroom next week. It would be a great summer project to kind of work into one of my units. So it's something I'm going to start with, and then make kind of a longer term project. So after I read all of it and was really overwhelmed, this is the best part of this book, is when he has tools and treasure. And that is, sorry, I got to the wrong place. He has tools and treasure towards the end of the book. And it's a big section of the book. It's like maybe the whole last fourth of the book. It is amazing. It is worth buying this book just for that section. So he has some mini games in the back that are totally awesome. You could do, this is what you could do in your classroom tomorrow if you really want to get started. And they are kind of based, a lot of them are based on like sports or other popular games. Like there's one based on Jeopardy, one based on Taboo, one tic-tac-toe, shuffleboard, basketball. He recommends buzzers to get, and other cool games and tools that you might want to use these. But again, some of them are things you already have, like paper footballs, or grudge ball is just a mini basketball hoop and a mini basketball. A lot of teachers already have that. One of them that I wanted to use as an example, because I love the higher order thinking skills in this, it's called Treasure Hunter. And it's an activity for students to collaborate over answers to large essential questions or unknown. So all you need is dice. And you just start with a meaty question, something that would cause discussion and multiple answers. Each group rolls 4 dice together, and then they have to discuss and answer the question by using the exact amount of words as the sum of their dice. So they're going to have between 4 and 24 words to answer this meaty question. And then they have a few minutes to discuss it, but it makes it interesting because some groups might have only 7, while other groups have like 19 words that they have to say. So I love the brainstorming and the collaboration that's involved in that. For Target, that would be really, really an amazing tool to have. And then also, and there's a ton of those, tons of those. And then he also has some fun fillers in the back, which I also love. It's just kind of like an activity for the end of the lesson when you have 5 minutes left. And how many of us haven't had 5 minutes left and I'm like, what am I going to do? So they're just little fun mini games. You can give the kids points for them. You can work them. If you have a fully gamified classroom, they can be part of your experience points, or you can just do them for fun. I swear the only thing I remember about 4th grade is that my teacher used to do silent ball at the end of the day for dismissal. We loved it. That's like the main, I don't remember anything I learned, but I remember silent ball. So I think these could be just really fun things to add into your classroom. They would make your classroom fun and engaging and memorable. Also towards the end, there's a section called Playful Assessment, and this is just sort of a way to make the assessment piece more engaging for students and kind of gamify assessment. Here's an example of one of these called Lego Build. And it says you give each student a bag filled with building materials like Lego and Kapla blocks. A page of their test is a large box titled Build Zone. The test directions instruct students to build 3 scenes from their unit. When completed, they take a photograph of what they built. Then they place that in a Word or Google document and write a brief description to explain the significance of what they built. They then disassemble and repeat the exercise for 2 additional scenes. Love that. And then again, there's just a ton of those using like story cubes, boss battles. There's some side quests at the very end that are like super quick. Create something inspired by the current unit with clay. Write a poem, any style is okay. Create a commemorative stamp. So just some really cool, creative, quick ways to just make assessment more fun. And then also in the back, I just want to talk about this again because I think it's, I didn't know about it, and maybe you didn't either. So Dave Burgess, who is an education boss and wrote Teach Like a Pirate, has his own consulting company. And of course he has Teach Like a Pirate. Ditch That Textbook is one. I have not read this one, but I came across it when I was researching gamification, and I thought it looked really cool. So that might be one of my books this year. Another one that I really liked, that I think probably is going to be my next book, is called The Zen Teacher. I'm feeling really stressed out right now, so just have a lot of projects going on. It's by Dan Tricarico. And so it kind of talks about how to maximize your performance and improve your quality of life as a teacher. So that might be something that I look into next. But love this book. It was great. If you are interested in gamification, even just a tiny little bit, I would highly, highly recommend it. I looked for a lot of other books on gamification, and I found a lot for the business world, but I didn't find a lot for education. There were only maybe 2 or 3. And then some of them were more textbook books, and they were like $50. This one was like, it was like $22. I think it's on sale right now for $17. Of course, it went down after I bought it, but I would highly recommend it. It's a quick read. It's a great read and has a lot of tools in there, especially if you're elementary. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time when I read my next book, when I'm Zen. Bye.